FIDE Master John Curtis from Australia here. Have I got a treat for you? And I'm going to invite you to work out what moves you would play during this game. Okay, so here we go. We're playing Dani 32018. He's rated 2029. He's from Colombia, and I'm sure you'll enjoy this game. Right, okay, so I opened up the game with e4. He played c5, so it was Sicilian, and you might enjoy this more if you play the Sicilian, I don't know. Knight f3, knight c6, so we've got the old Sicilian variation. I played c3, I thought, oh, I might be able to get d4 in, and they played d6, nice and passive, and I thought, oh, you beauty, I love this. Keep playing passive, buddy. Anyway, I played d4 straight away to grab the centre. Very important in chess if you can just grab the centre unimpeded, right? He took the pawn off, and now pawn takes pawn. Now, already in this position, I've got two bishops, lovely working bishops, and I'm already threatening d5, okay? So he played knight to f6, and I thought, well, oh, it's a blitz game, it's a 5-minute game, and I thought, well, maybe I can just trap him. I could trap him, but in actual fact, I trapped myself. When I looked at the chess engine, I realised that I'd made a mistake. Anyway, I played bishop here. The idea is if I push the pawn, and if he takes this pawn, I can push this pawn, move this knight here from c6, give him a check over here, and take his knight off. So now I'm going to invite you to find the correct move in this position for black. You've got 20 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're working it out? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Didn't mean to put you off. But if you played knight takes pawn, you were correct because pawn here doesn't work, right? So knight takes pawn. Now if pawn here, right, the knight can go back here, right? But then queen checks will win the knight, right? Queen checks, queen a4 check will win the knight. However, the problem is with my move is it check here, and now I can't check him because he's already checked me, right? So he's won a pawn. Okay, so that's what the engine taught me, that I'd made a mistake. If you've seen queen to a5 check as the correct move, then and you understood why, well then I applaud you. Anyway, we'll go back to this position here. My opponent, this position here, and my opponent played he played e5, right? He played e5. Knight to f6, bishop e3. He played e5, right? And then I continued with knight c3. I thought, well, I'll just develop my pieces. During the game, of course, I overlooked the fact that he could take the pawn altogether. I thought I would win a piece if he took the pawn. So there you go. I've learnt something. I hope you have too. He played bishop e7. So he develops a piece. He's preparing to castle. And black's position is fine, right? One of the moves that black can threaten is bishop to g4 with the idea of taking the knight and picking off this pawn on the black square and playing for the black squares. So I just played h3. I thought, well, I'm going to stop that move because I think he's going to castle. It's a blitz game, so I'm expecting him to castle. Oh, he didn't castle. He played a6 himself. So I just played a3. And I thought, well, I can do what he's doing and just wait him out. He castled. So I played bishop c4. I thought, oh, I'll get my pieces out. He has got this move, knight takes pawn, Right? You say, oh, but he can't take that, John, because he'd lose a piece. Well, he can take it because if I take the knight, he's got d5. He's got the d5 move, and I haven't castled yet. So knight takes pawn's not a bad idea in this position. Let's see what he did. Well, he played bishop d7. What a terrible move. Very, very passive. Because his bishop was already controlling that diagonal. So bishop here is extremely passive move. And I was very happy about that. So I just played my bishop back because I saw during the game that knight takes pawn was possible. Okay. All right then. So he played rook c8 and then I castled. Right, I castled. And we basically got the same time on the clock. He played b5. Here he comes. And this is the correct choice for black to play on the queen side. I played queen to d2. The engine says that he should be taking the pawn on d4. But I think what he did was excellent anyway. He played queen a5. Now, I was trying to work out a way that I could play knight to d5 and possibly cause some trouble with a discovery and take his bishop with check. But there's nothing there that would give me any advantage. So I played b4. Right now, oh, he can pinch a pawn. No, he can't. Do you know why he can't take that pawn? Can you see why? It's because if he takes the pawn, bishop would take the pawn with check and the rook would take the queen, so he would lose his queen. And he doesn't want to do that. And that's not the brilliancy, by the way. He played queen to d8, which is a good move. There's nothing wrong with that. Possibly queen to c7 was better. I played rook to c8, c1, mainly because I just want to negate the power of his rook on the c file. And he took the pawn, which is probably correct. I took with the knight, and then he played knight to e5. It's the move of a very mature player. So in this position, I could see that already he's threatening to come in here, play knight c4, and try to get the two bishops for the endgame. So he's got a few good ideas. So I played f3. I thought, well, I better keep my pawn structure here pretty solid because he's going to try to penetrate my position. Anyway, he played knight then. I had to take it. Otherwise, I'm going to lose the a pawn or the bishop on e3. And he took with the pawn. I was so happy. I thought, oh, I'm glad he didn't. Didn't take with the rook. If he took with the rook, I couldn't see how I was going to make progress because of these two bishops. Anyway, he played rook. I played rook to d1, just putting pressure on the d pawn. He played h6. Then I played g4, and the chess engine gave me an exclamation mark for this move. Right, knight to h7. Right, knight to h7. And I think that's a good move. I played knight to f5 and possibly should have played a pawn to a4 and started pushing my queen pawns because that's where my advantage is. I shouldn't really encourage him to take my knight, which is what he did. Anyway, I took with the pawn and the engine says I took with the wrong pawn. There you go. So you try to do the right thing and the engine tells you no, you should take with the other pawn. He played rook c6. He's just protecting his d pawn. So I popped my knight in the middle of the board. Now that's always been my plan, to pop the knight into the middle of the board. And then he played bishop to f6. He should play knight to f6 and try to remove that knight. Right. I played king g2 just to protect my pawns on f3 and on f3 and h3. And he played rook to e8. Now it's here that I have to be really, really careful. I've got this beautiful knight on d5, but how do I use it to maximum effect? Well, I played bishop d4. I'm not sure that that's the right move, but he played bishop e5. I then played rook to e1, that's right, because I knew how important it was, this open file. open files are so important in chess. And also his rook here is a bit awkward, this rook on c6, it's a bit awkward. Anyway, he took the bishop, and I thought, you beauty. So I just recaptured with the queen. Now he's under tremendous pressure because I'm sort of half threatening a king f, rook takes rook, and king f7 or something, right? Right, king f2, rook takes rook, king here threatening to hit his rook. Anyway, he took the rook off, right? So I took with the rook, and now it's his move. And he played king to f8, and I thought, oh, that's a good move because that stops all my plans of threatening checkmate down the back, right? Stops all my plans of threatening checkmate down the back. And so I played a4 because I wanted to upset his castle. And he played queen over there. Now he's threatening my castle, right? He's threatening my castle. So I played queen here. Now I'm threatening checkmate. Okay, I'm threatening checkmate. And naturally, he stopped it. He played rook here. So now I invite you, and I'm going to give you 10 seconds to find the correct move. And I will be with you in 1 second. Right. I'll be with you in 1 second, right? Yeah. So, so it's your choice. Think about the move. Think about the move. What would white play in this position? Well, if you thought pawn here was the correct move, pawn hits queen, so pawn to knight 5, you were wrong. You were wrong. If you thought knight to g4 was the correct move, you're pretty close to being right, but it's a tricky position. After queen checks, I've got queen checks, right? If he plays knight there, I've got queen checks, and I've got knight to f4, right? So that's a very, very complicated position. I played knight here, and the chess engine gave me an exclamation mark, right? So what move would you play here if you were black? I'll give you a few seconds to work it out. What move would you play here if you were the black pieces? Okay, well, if you chose rook, knight hits queen, you would have made the same choice that my opponent made, right? So if you played knight hits queen, you would have made the same choice that my opponent made. Now, have a look at my position. My queen's attacked. My pawn, my H-pawn's attacked with check, right? So what move would you play as white in this position? I'll give you 10 seconds to work it out, or maybe, yeah, how much time did I use to work it out? I don't know. I've got 57 seconds left on the clock. That's all I've got. So I can only give you another 10 seconds. I'll be quiet for 10 seconds. Well, I did hint at the start of the video that we're going to give a queen sacrifice, and here it comes. I found this move, queen to e8 check. You say, oh, but John, you've just lost your queen. Well, he takes with the rook, right? Now, I could take his rook with check, but then I'm a queen down, all right? So I gave him a knight check, and I had to calculate all this. So one check, a knight check is the second check, plays king here, so rook takes rook check is the third check. He plays king here, so knight to f8 check is the fourth check. He plays king to g8, right? And so knight to g6 is the fifth check. and he plays king to h7 forced, and the 6th check, so it's 6 checks in a row. It's checkmate. There we go. So there's my lovely queen sacrifice. So I'll go through that with you one more time. Right, so it's in this position. It's almost like a beautiful position for the chess.com computer. And the rook's attacked. Now, I did say if he played knight here to attack my queen, which is what he played, right, I have got queen checks, right, and that's what happened. Check, rook takes, knight check, king here, rook takes, rook check, and I had to see all this because, as you can see, I've only got 18 seconds. King here, knight check, king back there, knight check here, and king here, and rook checkmates. And I won with 17.9 seconds to spare. I really hope that you enjoyed that game. And with that, I'm just going to switch. I'm going to do a quick switch back to my archives. And I'm going to show you a second game. I'm going to do this one much quicker. This is just a book trap I wanted to show you. It's a 6-move book trap. A 6-move book trap. And there we go. Where's this 6-move book trap? There it is, 6 moves. And I played with 96% accuracy, easy to achieve if the game only lasts 6 moves. Right? Playing white was Frank 0288. He's rated 2153 from the United States. It's 2,153. I'm playing black. And my rating for the purposes of this game was 2185. It was a 5-minute game. And the game lasts 6 moves. Right, here we go. It's d5, knight f6, c4, all book moves, e6, bishop pins the knight, well, fair enough, c5, okay, and he played knight f3. It's a good move, there's nothing wrong with that. It's called the Indian game, the East Indian Sarawan attack, named after Grandmaster Yeso Sarawan, who does a lot of analysis on chess.com. I took the pawn off, he recaptured with the knight, and it was then I played a6. Now here, in this position, white thought he would just play e3, and that's where he came unstuck because queen checks just simply wins a bishop. And he resigned. So that's how you can beat a 2,153 rated player, a national master, by the way. He's actually an American national master, and he lost in only 6 moves. I'm going to go quickly. I'm going to show you one more game from the archive. And the last game is just a very pretty little checkmate. It's against DKclap. It's against DKclap, and it's just a pretty little checkmate. Here we go. 32 moves. I'll rush through it. I don't want to waste your time. The highlight of the video, of course, was the lovely checkmate, the 6-move forced checkmate with the queen sacrifice. Here we go. E4, E5. I'm playing the black pieces. I was rated 2191. DKclap, he was 2105 from the US. Knight C3, Knight C6. And we're playing the Vienna game, the Max Lang, D6, Bishop B5, Bishop there. He took it, I took back. He played D6. Then I played F6 because I didn't know what to do, and I knew he was, at this stage, White's winning. White's got a much better game. He played Queen E2, so he's outplayed me in the opening. So I just thought I better get my pieces out, Knight E7, complete my development. He played this move, and I think that's a bit suspect. So I played D5. Now I'm going to break through move. He took the pawn. Now what this does, instead of leaving the tension on, which is what he should have done, he's now left this F pawn weak on F5. So I took the bishop instead, so my knight retains the attack on F5, encouraging him to make even more weak moves. And he played it too. He played G4, so his whole king side's weak now, but he can castle queen side. So it's not all together lost. So I played H5. Now I'm simply threatening pawn takes pawn, Right, now if he pushes past, I'll take the F pawn. So I was very happy with my position. So I've turned the tables around from a lost opening to an opening with advantage to black. He played pawn forwards, so I pinned his knight. I thought, I won't take that pawn straight away because if knight takes pawn in the middle of the board, right? So he took the pawn, I took his knight, and I recaptured. It was in this position, he played c5. I just moved my bishop back. Bishop e3. He's developing his pieces. Good idea. So I just took the pawn off. And you can see I've got an extra pawn. Now I've got 6 pawns. And he's got 2, 4, 5 pawns. Moved his bishop back. And now, to all intents and purposes, he's got an equal game. So I played queen to e7. Because I am threatening pawn to e4. It's a real threat. Breaks open his position. But before I do that, I put my king into safety, so I castle. He played rook to b1. Now he can't castle queenside. He can't really castle kingside. So that's my move. And I played queen there. I thought, well, I'll just change direction and put my queen over there and threatened to take his a-pawn and try to create some more weaknesses. He brought his knight back, and I thought that was a great way to play. I took his pawn off just to keep him in pressure. I've got 2 minutes on the clock. He's got 2 minutes 50. So he's playing fast, but he's dropping a few pawns. He played this bishop move. I don't know why. I played b6 and attacked it. He played queen protects it, but this is a trick move. He's really threatening queen takes knight check. Okay, that's his real threat. So I moved the knight back there, and now I'm on his bishop. So he's got a decision to make. And he took, and I recaptured with my rook. I really wanted to open up this position as much as possible, as I explained. And he can't move the knight. Notice how his knight can't move because he loses his castle. So, and his centre looks a bit weak. But how do you take advantage of it? So he's moved his knight, but what about his castle? Oh, I left it there. I didn't take it off. Surprise, surprise. I want to open up his king. I should take his castle with check, but now he attacks me, so I just moved there. And he took a pawn. I thought, oh, great, because I've got a plan. My plan is to open. Oh, king hits rook. I just chased the rook away. That's the rook I wouldn't take before. He pushed a pawn on the rook, so I played rook to e6. And he took a pawn off, so I took a pawn with check. Right, taking a pawn with check's always fun. And he played the king there. Well, he should go the other way to f1, because now queen checks. Look at this move, queen checks. Now, if he plays the king forwards, it's checkmate with the queen. So king here, it'll be just checkmate there, but it's not very pretty. So it doesn't fulfill our requirements. So he played knight here, knight to f1. And now I played pawn takes pawn check. It's with that, he recaptured the pawn. He hasn't got much choice. So I gave him a rook check. Now his knight's pinned. He can't put the knight in, so he has to put his queen in. And what move do we play here? Well, we just give him a check. Any check will do because everything is tied up. His rook's tied up. His other castle's doing nothing. His knight's pinned. And this rook controls that line. So it's just a nice little checkmate in the middle of the board. And yes, I did overlook queen takes rook on a1 for those astute people that saw that. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that lovely queen sacrifice with the forced checkmate in 6 moves. And we'll catch you next time. Please click the thumbs up button if you like the video and subscribe, and you'll receive notification of more YouTube videos. And we'll see you soon. Me and possibly Grandmaster Teddy. He's not here right now. He's playing in an international tournament in Rotterdam. Right, so we're off. That will be the end.